Jack and Jill, presentation by Diana Perez. Introducing the nursery rhyme. The nursery rhyme Jack and Jill was written by Mother Goose. Before its famous author name, it was once known as Goosefoot Bertha. Mother Goose is an imaginary author from a collection of French fairy tales, which later on turned into English nursery rhymes. The first rhyme that was translated into English was a rhyme titled As Contes de Ma Mary Loyal in 1729, written by a French author named Charles Perrault. Before the English version, the author was titled as Tales from My Mother Goose. Jack and Jill interprets a story involving King Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette. This all took place during the French Revolution. Jack represents King Louis XVI and Jill represents Marie Antoinette. In one of the verses of Jack and Jill, it says Jack fell down and broke his crown, and Jill came tumbling after. This tells the story of when King Louis lost his crown in the time of Reign of Terror. Not long after that, Marie Antoinette was also beheaded. Message and theme. The rhyme itself is explaining how both children went up the hill to fetch a pail of water but failed. The message being developed as you read the rhyme is when you realize the true meaning behind it. It covers the dark truth of a real meaning. A king who failed to be a good one, and he faced that he had lots of power but he abused it and caused lots of harm to his own people. He was selfish and he didn't care about his people. King Louis XVI only cared about himself and his power. Now this story has been converted into a rhyme which is now being told to children. Well, children are clueless, right? So they won't find out the meaning behind it. Well, of course, possibly when they grow older and pass it on to the children. Textual examples. The author wanted you to visualize a rhyme just by reading it. Two words that would help readers would be caper and knob. In the second verse, it explains how Jack got up after tumbling down the hill and skipped to Dame Dob so he could cure his wounds. Jack, along with Jill, fell and come tumbling down the hill again. Throughout this rhyme, the line tumbling down are replaced words for failing. Explanation of the textual examples. Connotation, a person of high class, and skipping or dancing. Denotations, knob and caper. The author included these words that add from both the true meaning of the story and the children's rhyme. The last three lines of verse 2 is explaining what happened in the true story, how King Louis wanted to retry in being king, but he failed once again. The word knob is relating to when he was a person of high class, but when he was beheaded, he was no longer considered one as much as before because he abused his power. Caper is referring to when he was skipping to Dame Dob to get patched up. In the true story, it refers to when he retried being king, but he failed, like I had mentioned earlier. Connection to the world and society. Just like back then to now, people have always and will always be selfish. In my opinion, this connects to the world we live in now because there are still similar situations referring to abusing power. Now, I'm not saying every person who has power will abuse it, but most of the people do. Some will do good things, things that will help our planet and the people in it. The society we live in is pretty bad. Many people don't listen to the rules or laws in order to keep one under control. I'll take this pandemic as an example. There are people living in our society that are ignorant by not wearing a mask. That affects our society and the world altogether. Governors, presidents, etc. are being seen in public without a mask. This, to me, is them abusing their power because they think that just because they're the ones putting out the rules, it doesn't apply to them. But in reality, it applies to all of us living in this society.